Have you noticed how some people can remember your face, your story, even the shirt you wore last week, but forget your name within seconds? You're standing there, you just said it, they nodded, they smiled, and then 5 minutes later you see it in their eyes, the panic, the blank space. What was your name again? It feels small, almost rude, but here's the strange part. For many people, forgetting names isn't carelessness, it isn't low intelligence, it isn't disrespectful. It's psychology. And once you see what's really happening inside their mind, you can't unsee it. I made this for you after a long research into memory, attention, and human behavior. If you enjoy deep psychological conversations like this, like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you think. Now let's talk about the person who forgets names instantly. Maybe that person is you. You walk into a room, someone says, "Hi, I'm Sarah." And while she's saying it, your brain is already busy. Do I look confident enough? What should I say next? Am I shaking her hand too hard? Do I look awkward? By the time she finishes her sentence, her name has already slipped through your fingers. Not because you didn't care, but because you were trying too hard. Psychologists like Daniel Kahneman talk about attention as a limited resource. We only have so much mental energy in one moment. When that energy is used for self-monitoring, anxiety, or overthinking, there's very little left for simple encoding. And that's what remembering a name requires. Encoding. The brain has to take that sound Sarah and attach it to meaning, a face, a feeling, a context. But here's the twist. Names are strangely meaningless to the brain. If someone tells you, "I'm a doctor," your brain lights up. Doctor means something. It has images, emotions, status, stories. But "I'm Sarah." It's just a sound, a label, floating without emotional weight. And the brain loves meaning. That's why many people who forget names easily are actually very perceptive in other ways. They remember how you made them feel. They remember your laugh. They remember that you seemed tired that day. They remember energy. But not labels. Have you ever met someone who forgot your name but remembered that you said your mother was sick, or that you were nervous about a presentation? That's not shallow, that's an emotional memory. In fact, research shows that emotional events are stored more deeply than neutral information. The amygdala, the emotional center of the brain, strengthens memory when feelings are involved. And a name on its own rarely carries emotion. Now think about this. The people who forget names quickly are often highly self-aware, sometimes painfully self-aware. They walk into a room and instantly scan the social atmosphere. Who seems confident, who seems distant, who is judging. Their brain is not relaxed. It's scanning for safety. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." I would add to that, everything we struggle with socially often hides a deeper inner story. For many name forgetters, the struggle is not memory. It's anxiety. Not loud anxiety, not dramatic anxiety. Quiet anxiety. The kind that smiles while overthinking. The kind that says, "Don't mess this up." When someone introduces themselves, the anxious mind doesn't fully listen, it performs. It calculates. It predicts. It rehearses. And memory suffers. Let me tell you a small story. There's a man at work, intelligent, observant, kind. He remembers complex project details without notes. He can analyze problems in minutes. But every team meeting starts the same way. Someone new joins, names are shared, and a week later he avoids saying their name at all costs. He says, "Hey, you." Or wait for someone else to say it first. He feels embarrassed. He thinks, "What's wrong with me?" Nothing is wrong with him. His brain is just overloaded. People who think deeply often live in their heads. While someone is introducing themselves, they are already imagining future conversations, judging their own tone, wondering how they are perceived. The present moment slips away. And names live in the present moment. There's another layer. Some people forget names because they grew up in environments where emotional survival mattered more than social detail. Maybe they had to read moods quickly. Maybe they had to sense anger before it exploded. Maybe they had to stay hyperaware. When you grow up scanning for emotional safety, your brain becomes excellent at reading faces, tension, silence. but it doesn't prioritize names. Because names were never the threat. Emotions were. This creates a strange contradiction. These people can be deeply empathetic. They can sense when something is wrong before you say a word. Yet they might forget your name 3 times. They seem socially capable, but internally tense. Confident on the outside, anxious on the inside. Independent but secretly afraid of being judged as awkward or rude. Have you ever felt that contradiction in yourself? Tell me in the comments, are you someone who forgets names easily? And where are you watching from? I'm always curious how far these conversations travel. There's also a cognitive explanation. Memory works best when we create associations. Psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus, who studied memory and forgetting, showed how quickly we lose information that has no connection. If I tell you my name is Michael and it connects to nothing in your mind, it fades. But if you think Michael like my cousin or Michael like that actor, the memory sticks. Many people who forget names simply don't pause to build that bridge. They hear it but they don't attach it. And here's something no one talks about. Sometimes forgetting names is a defense. If you don't store someone deeply, you don't get attached quickly. If you don't attach quickly, you don't get hurt easily. It sounds dramatic, but attachment begins with recognition, with labeling, with holding someone in memory. For people who have experienced rejection, betrayal, or instability, there can be a subtle resistance to quick closeness. Forgetting a name becomes symbolic. I don't know you yet. I'm not safe yet. I'm still observing. Of course, they don't think this consciously. It's quiet, automatic. But the body remembers what the mind forgets. And sometimes the mind forgets what the heart is unsure about. Now let's talk about the silent shame. The moment when you realize you forgot someone's name again, you've asked twice already. Your stomach tightens. You smile and hope someone else says it first. You replay the introduction in your head, trying to recover the sound. In that moment, it's not about memory. It's about self-worth. I should be better at this. Why am I like this? They must think I don't care. That inner voice can be cruel. But here's the truth. Your brain is not broken. It's selective. It prioritizes what feels meaningful, emotional, or urgent. And if you've spent years surviving through emotional awareness, deep thinking, or self-monitoring, your attention has simply been trained elsewhere. The beautiful part. The same brain that forgets names can remember pain with precision. It can remember kindness for years. It can analyze patterns in relationships. It can sense shifts in tone like a radar. That is not a weakness. That is depth. And depth can be refined. You can learn small habits, repeating the name out loud, creating associations, slowing down during introductions, making eye contact and taking one full breath before speaking. One breath. Sometimes that's all it takes to shift from performing to be present. And presence changes memory. Let me ask you something. When someone forgets your name, do you assume they don't care, or do you assume they might just be human? And when you forget someone's name, do you attack yourself for it? Be honest with me in the comments. Also, how old are you? I'm curious if this feels different in your 20s, 30s, or beyond. Here's the deeper message. Forgetting names instantly is often a sign of a mind that is busy surviving, analyzing, protecting, or overthinking. It is not a sign of a shallow heart. In fact, sometimes it belongs to people who feel too much. They carry invisible storms, they replay conversations at night, they care about how they are perceived, they want to connect deeply but fear getting it wrong. So they forget the smallest detail. And remember the heaviest ones. Over time, if they learn to soften that inner pressure, something changes. They stop scanning for judgment. They stop rehearsing every word. They allow silence. And in that space, names begin to stick. Because they are no longer trying to survive the moment. They are living in it. Maybe that's the real psychology here. Not a bad memory, but divided attention. Not carelessness, but self-protection. Not disrespectful, but a mind that learned to look for storms instead of labels. And when that mind heals, when it feels safe enough to simply be, it becomes powerful. It remembers not just names but stories. Not just faces but souls. If this resonated with you, stay with this channel. We explore the quiet patterns that shape who we are, the hidden behaviors that carry deep meaning. Subscribe if you want more conversations like this, and share this with someone who always says, "I'm so bad with names." Maybe they're not bad with names at all. Maybe they're just carrying too much inside. And like a lighthouse in heavy fog, their mind has been focused on surviving the storm, not memorizing the boats passing by.